Hey bees, I'm Marie from Humblebee and Me. Today we are blending up a hair oil 2 different ways inspired by the now discontinued $70 an ounce RODIN hair oil. The first version is very rich, sticking quite close to the original product, while the second version teaches you how to lighten up the hair oil if your hair is easily weighed down. We'll start by taking a look at the ingredient list for the original product and then breaking that ingredient list down into a formulation. We'll then make that formula and then I will show you how to lighten it up. As always, in the description box below you will find timestamps for this video and a link to the partner blog post where you'll find extended explanations and links to helpful resources. So here's the ingredient list for the original product. You can see that it is mostly a blend of 5 different carrier oils, rounded out with a blend of 3 essential oils, some calendula oil, and an antioxidant, which is tocopherol acetate. Limonene and linalool are noted independently as they are potential allergens present in the essential oils. When I set to turning an ingredient list into a formulation, one of the first things I like to do is locate the likely 1% line. That's the place in the ingredient list where everything above is used at more than 1% and everything below is used at less than 1%. In this product, the 1% line is likely between the almond oil and the juniper essential oil. In a hair oil formulation, an oil is unlikely to be used at less than 1%, while a very potent essential oil will probably be used at less than 1%, so that's why I'm choosing that spot. I read a lot of reviews for this product to get a feel for it, and people were quite divided on the scent. Some people loved it, and some people said that it smelled really piney, with some people even saying it kind of smelled like pine sol cleaning solution. That piney scent would come mostly from the juniper essential oil. The rosemary essential oil would bring a more herbaceous, camphoraceous note, while neroli is sweet and powdery. I'm honestly not a very big fan of any of these essential oils and I don't own any of them, so I decided to switch up the scent blend to 0.3% of a fragrance oil of choice, and I am using wildflower honey from Brambleberry, which was a gift and smells really sweet and beautiful. If you would like to use the original essential oil blend, I have provided some details on where I'd start with that in the partner blog post linked in the description box below. I opted to get the calendula part of this formulation from Brambleberry's oil-soluble calendula extract at 3%, and I'll include tocopherol acetate at 0.5%. If you only have tocopherol MT50, you can use that instead. With the fragrance, calendula, and antioxidant settled, we have 3.8% of the formulation accounted for. That leaves 96.2% of the formulation to make up with the 5 carrier oils. From the ingredient list, we know that there's more apricot oil than jojoba oil, more jojoba oil than olive oil, and so on, but we don't know by how much. The positive reviews that I read for this product praised it for both softening the hair and boosting shine. With that in mind, I chose the percentages of the carrier oils to try and balance softening and shine properties. There are more details about this and which oils soften and which oils add shine in the partner blog post and linked resources, again, linked in the description box below this video. I settled on 40% apricot kernel oil, 35% jojoba oil, 10% olive oil, 9% sunflower seed oil, and 2.2% sweet almond oil. That's our formulation, so let's make it. We'll be making a 30 gram or roughly 1 fluid ounce batch, which will go a long way. If you would like to scale this formulation up or down, you will find information on how to do that in the partner blog post. You'll need 12 grams apricot kernel oil, 10.5 grams jojoba oil, 3 grams olive oil, 2.7 grams sunflower seed oil, and 0.66 grams sweet almond oil. If you don't have any of these oils, make sure you check out the video I shared recently on how to make carrier oil substitutions. Though a very easy substitution to make would be to combine the sweet almond oil and the apricot kernel oil and use all of either one or the other, as they are quite similar oils. To that oil blend, we will add 0.09 grams fragrance oil or essential oil of choice, 0.9 grams of oil-soluble calendula extract, and 0.15 grams of tocopherol acetate or tocopherol MT50. If you would like to use a homemade calendula infused oil, you can definitely do that too. There's more details about that in the partner blog post. Simply combine all of the ingredients in a small beaker and stir until uniform. As this formulation is very rich, I recommend packaging it in a dropper bottle so you can dispense it drop by drop. The instructions for the original recommend starting with just 2 drops of product, spreading them evenly between your hands and working those 2 drops throughout your hair as thoroughly as possible. You can absolutely use the hair oil just like this, but if your hair is easily weighed down by oil, you might want to lighten it up to reduce the chances of over applying. And this is really easy to do. So I'll show you how to do that now. If you look at the ingredient lists for lots of different commercially available hair oil products, you'll notice that the first ingredient is usually some sort of volatile, lightweight emollient, something like cyclopentasiloxane, cyclomethicone, or isododecane. These ingredients are ultra lightweight, very slippy, and feel really expensive. They serve to dilute and lighten the oil in the formulation, performing a role very similar to the role of water in a lotion. However, because cyclomethicone and isododecane are oil-soluble, you don't have to bother with making an emulsion and you don't have to worry about preservatives. You can just stir everything together. So to create a lighter version of this hair oil, simply dilute it with something lightweight and volatile like cyclomethicone or isododecane. 80 to 90% cyclomethicone and 10 to 20% of this hair oil blend will give you a final product that is much harder to over-apply to hair that's easily weighed down. You could package this variation in a mister bottle or a treatment pump bottle if desired, or stick with a dropper top bottle. If you're looking for a natural alternative to cyclomethicone, you could try a natural ester like cocoa caprolate or a product marketed as a natural cyclomethicone alternative. In my experience though, these ingredients are nowhere near as lightweight or volatile as cyclomethicone. They can certainly lighten the original oil blend, but it's not going to be anywhere near as light as a version made with cyclomethicone. Just how well this works or doesn't work for you and your hair is going to depend on your hair, so you're just going to have to try it and see. If it ends up being too heavy for your hair, you can always use it as a body oil. If you don't have one of the carrier oils I used in this formulation, click here to learn how to make carrier oil substitutions. And if you would like to make the shampoo bar I used this morning before filming this video, click here. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe and I'll see you next time. Bye!